Hey guys, welcome back. Today I am checking out a sort of an old story. This was on November 17th, 2016. So, about a week before Thanksgiving. I don't really watch the Young Turks. Obviously, I'm not subscribed. I don't really like any of their videos because they're, generally speaking, they're usually not very accurate. They're usually not very informative. And they're, honestly, most of them are just op-ed pieces. They are definitely more journalistic than your average person, more journalistic than I am, for instance, but maybe not, to be honest with you. But I was sent this story by a friend, and I went ahead and took a look at the video. I'm not going to play it because this isn't a reaction channel. But I will say that if you kind of take a look real quick at the view on below, you can see that there's about, oh god, I don't want to be a total dick about this and not play it, but there it is, 120. The actual story that they're showing is basically a rehash of a news article, so that's 20. So there's about a minute of actual news, and I will try and cut to that real quick and just kind of show you.
On Monday, Nikki shared this cell phone video on social media.
So that's Nikki. She ended up, you can see that her car really has been broken into. Somebody really did steal her purse.
They had mistaken me as an Islamic woman.
Nikki suffers from lupus and wears a bandana for sun protection. Whoever wrote the hate message assumed she was Muslim.
Sure, okay, there's the note.
This is our nation. Get the F out.
I would be lying if I said I didn't feel a bit of fear.
Officials with the East Bay
There's the
Regional
park.
Park District say car break-ins happen often.
There's the parking lot.
Reports of hate crimes are extremely rare.
It's, obviously...
And there's an actual spokesperson. So Carolyn Jones, that's kind of important because this is the only place you're going to actually find any actual information, is in this small little blurb. The problem with a story like this, and this story in particular, isn't that I doubt that her car was broken into, or even that she may have had a note left on it. It's that I doubt the reporters. See, that is the problem. There isn't enough information for me to go, okay, I totally believe that.
Hate speech, intolerance,
East Bay Regional Park District, okay. So she's not actually part of the... She's not actually part of the police department. I want to make that clear.
Today, Nikki says she plans to finish 17 peace hikes in the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
With the Muslim community in mind.
All right.
My reaction is utter sadness. I feel for the people that are in reception of this hate.
Okay, and then literally the rest of this entire video from the Young Turks is just them blabbing about it. So the reason I'm on this page is because this is what was linked to me, and if you go down to their description you can get an idea of where they got the actual news article from. The problem is the only one they have is right here, rawstory.com. I really hate going to this site. It has this picture, and it has this little blurb, basically, where you just kind of see the same thing that just happened. And then they actually kind of tell you right here in written form what Bay Area Police Department it might be. It's the East Bay Regional Police Department. So if I copy that and just go here, you can actually see that at least that's real for sure. There is an actual East Bay Police Department. They do actually have a police department, and so that's not fake. They have a Twitter. We can go to the Twitter as well, and they even have a Facebook. I know they do. We can check that out in just a second as well. The problem with this story is that there's very little information about it. It's very, very sparse. There is this lady. She had her car broken into. Her purse was probably stolen. That's really it. That's the only facts you can rely upon, because literally everything else in here is speculation by her, and all has to do with a note that was written by somebody. I have no idea who wrote that note. And it's not like I think that she straight up lied. She doesn't seem like she's a narcissistic person from the little bit we've seen of her. But, there's no way to know. I mean, she runs a blog every day, so who knows? The only thing we can tell for sure is that her car was broken into. Her window was broken. Something was likely stolen from her car. And she's in the East Bay. She's near Fremont. So, I mean, that's actually said several times, but just to make it clear, she's in Mission Peak in Fremont. That place they have high crime there. That's one of the places where cops beat up homeless people, and where people would get beat up all the time. I mean, this shit is not uncommon. I mean, they even said that in that little blurb that was in that video. where he said, you know, people breaking into cars is not uncommon at all. So you can go to the actual regional parks police department Twitter, and if you kind of scroll on down, you can see there's like the 13th or so. Because here's the other thing, they don't really show in any of these. This one definitely doesn't. There are other articles that actually reported on this. They don't really tell when she was robbed. They just have the day that it was posted, the day that the story broke. So, I mean, I'm guessing I'm assuming what happened was, because you got to understand, this is on, you know, this is on a news station. This is on like in news articles and shit. Because they actually mentioned she called her local police, and then she also called the local news. You got to understand that she called the news. You know, she did actually call the police too, at least according to, and they've got a representative talking about it. I have to assume that she called the police, right? Well, I haven't seen anybody from the actual police department say anything about this. And I haven't called them yet because I'm lazy, and it's actually way past their business hours. But I am actually curious enough in this story to actually go ahead and call them up. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow. I'll put an addendum in there. But let's go back to their Twitter real quick. You get the 13th, the 14th, the 15th, and then the 17th. They say, hey, have you taken our survey? Let us know how we are doing. That's the 17th. That is literally the day that the news story broke, right? Well, there's no activity at all until the 24th, right? And the 24th is Thanksgiving. So you gotta assume that at that point there's two reasons why they don't have any tweets, because if you scroll down, they have a pretty active Twitter. I mean, it's not terribly active. I mean, that's the 5th, the 7th through 11th. So sometimes they skip days. So there's two reasons why they could have skipped the, you know, from the 17th to the 24th. One is this crazy story happened about a race crime or a hate crime rather on their jurisdiction, and they want to just keep a low profile. Or because it's, you know, leading up to Thanksgiving, they had a hell of a lot of work to do, and there wasn't anybody around to tweet. And that's very likely. There's just nothing going on that they could tweet about, and there was just no reason to tweet about it, and just had a lot of work to do. Because they don't put anything up here like, you know, cases that have happened on Twitter, but you'd think that there'd be something. You know, you'd think there'd be something, period, right? So if you go to, see if I can copy-paste that, Facebook. Yeah, okay, they actually do have a Facebook page as well. If you go to their Facebook page, it kind of looks like this. Happy Thanksgiving. Thank you, East Bay. That's the 22nd of August. September 6th. So yeah, November 7th, and then you've got videos, and then you've got photos. That sucks, man. Facebook is horrible. It really is. It's got an about, so you know it's a real thing. I guess we could just do posts. Let's see, all. So November 7th is the last one. November 24th, or that's because Facebook sucks. 24th, 23rd, 16th, 15th. Okay, so now they're all in time. Yeah, so it goes from the 16th, where somebody got promotion, they said congratulations to her, and they jumped straight to the 23rd. And that's basically when Thanksgiving happens. Oh, shut up. Go away. I don't want to log in. Just shut up. God, it's cancer. I hate Facebook so much. So you've got a bunch of people here who like that. They got a bunch of people here who like that. Well deserved, right? But there's no comments anywhere about any of this stuff. But at least you got an idea that this is a real police station, and this stuff really happened. So here's what I think happened, because if you go and look this up, first off, I'm going to do one more thing before we go any further. Just reverse image search this stuff. That'd be the first thing to do. If you get a weird story, reverse image search everything. You'll notice that almost all of the stuff that uses this image is from the Young Turks, or is like a link to another video, or is that raw story thing, because there's a couple other stories that have that image up in their banner. Yeah, I mean, you can see that this is all from the same group of people. So that's the first thing that made me kind of go, this is suspect, isn't it? But even if you look her up, if you look up, see, Nikki Pancholi, I'm totally butchering her name, and I'm sorry about that. If you look up And then, you know, news. Just news. Fremont High. So we actually saw, I actually clicked on this one earlier. It might actually play a video because it's really annoying, but they do that. So you can see this one actually has like a real news story. Please do not play. Alright. So yeah, it's the same stuff. It's the same information. When asked what she thought about it, basically it's the same stuff. Fear. I believe they're controlled by fear. But fear of what? So Fremont City Councilman-elect Raj Salwan, these guys talked to that guy. Somebody else talked to the other representative, was a lady. And there's a lot of insecurity right now. So again, you see that these people actually went ahead and called somebody, but they didn't talk to an actual police officer. That's another weird little red flag for me, is when they can't get a hold of a police officer to confirm any of the story. And that's why I'm like a little bit skeptical about this whole story and stories like it, because I don't trust the reporters. I don't trust the bias of the reporters. I do believe that this lady was vandalized. I do believe that somebody stole her stuff. And I think that somebody broke into her car. Whether anything else is true in the story at all is hearsay. It's her opinion. I mean, the police have to at least take her story seriously, and that's why they're calling it a hate crime. But there's no suspects, because the people who did this most likely just stole her purse and her cash, broke into her car like they do to everybody else. She's been on the news. Her blog, I'm sure, has blown up. Her Facebook has blown up. So, and I'm not saying she did anything wrong. I'm just saying there is motive for her to lie. There's motive for everyone to lie. There's motive for these two to lie. They've got biases that they want to make sure are confirmed. They want to make sure that what they're thinking is correct. That's how all humans operate. That's how I operate. I mean, but the thing is, they're not providing evidence. I mean, human reasoning is shit. It's complete shit. We are horrible at reasoning through things. We make mistakes all the time. That's why you can't rely on reason. And I have plenty of reason to suspect that there's at least some bullshit to the story. Not necessarily that the police department isn't real, but that the story itself is just really highly suspect. There's just no information in any of these news articles that points towards actual evidence, other than her car getting broken into. I mean, that's pretty clear. Her car is broke the fuck into. Somebody broke her window. I've had my car broken into. It sucks. So I feel for her, man. That sucks. And I hope they catch the person who broke into your car. The rest of it, who knows? Could be true, could not be true. But this never would have gotten any media attention if it had just been her car got broke into. Really. Never would have gotten any media attention. That's the sad thing, is that, you know, when your car is broken into and your physical stuff is stolen from you, nobody cares. If somebody might have done something crazy to you that everyone thinks is just like lurking in the subconscious of all people who look different than them, if that happened, like a race crime or a hate crime or anything like that, they just jump all over it. It's like candy. So who knows? Who knows if it's true? The second half of the story about the actual hate crime part of it. Who knows? But the first part obviously was true. It's so suspect to see all this crap, because it looks like they all basically have the exact same story. All these people. I mean, if you go to like basically anywhere, Mercury News, it's the same pictures. I bet you it's like almost the same broadcast too. It is just the same story. KPIX, you guys are doing great work over there. It's the same story. It's almost word for word. Stole her purse and left the note around 4 p.m. It's got a lot more information in this article than the rest of them. So she posts a blog at the base of the mountain, and another post when she reaches the peak. That's pretty cool. Yeah, maybe she could take a look at her, go ahead and take a look at her blog. That wouldn't be actually a bad idea. Car break-ins sadly are not unusual, but these hate crimes are very rare. The last hate crime East Bay Regional Police investigated was about a year ago, when a woman went on an anti-Islam rant and threw hot coffee. If that... See, I bet there's actual evidence for that too, because they probably had video of it, or... Yeah, I bet she actually did. Yeah, see, look at that. Screenshot from a Facebook video taken by Rashid. So this is an actual video of it actually happening. This is like... At that point, you can then take apart the video if you want, and like, you know, go, is it really a race crime? But if she's throwing like hot coffee at somebody and calling people being angry at people just because they're Muslim, then yeah, you can call it a hate crime at that point, right? But this is just hearsay, and that's what I'm trying to get at. It's long-winded 15 minutes for me to get here. I definitely think that this lady had her car broken into, but every time the Young Turks does something, I have to question it, and this is another one of those ones where I'm just like, I don't believe it. I believe her car was broken into. Everything else you say is bullshit. Not because it isn't necessarily true, it's just you haven't provided me enough evidence, and I've gone through several different sites, and they've just given me really bare bones information, and it basically leads to the same amount of bullshittery as like Mizzou. Yeah, Mizzou, which I always put not enough Z's in. So yeah, I mean, these guys, they had a whole bunch of stuff happen with them too, where they basically said, such and such happened where I was facing harassment, and it turned out to be bullshit, or there weren't any police reports, or nothing really happened. People lie all the time, and just to end this up, just to wrap this up, I know this is true because I've lied in the past. When I was a very young man, a young boy, I went to his school because my parents had moved, and I didn't like the school. I was bored. I didn't like any people there. I was at a place. I had to pay for lunch, which is something I didn't have to do in my old school. So I was hungry, bored, alone, and I was just sitting in class, and they were talking about stranger danger and bullshit like that. And I just made up a story. I made up a story and said, hey, I was almost kidnapped once. And I described a car. Basically, I just took a couple cars out in the parking lot from the window I was looking at and mashed them all together. And then I just made up a person that kind of sort of was mashed together from the groundskeeper and about 5 other people who walked by the window when I was lying through my teeth. I got lunch out of it. I didn't have to stay at the school anymore. That's literally what happened. And I've told my parents about it, and I've apologized because it was a shitty thing to do. I was a kid, but there's no excuse. I have lied straight up to authorities. I lied to the police. I lied to the principal. I lied to my parents. And I got something out of it. And I don't do that anymore. It made me feel like crap. I still feel like crap about it. I mean, at the time, don't get me wrong, I felt great about having a lunch, because the principal gave me some food in the office. Because my parents didn't know that they didn't have free lunch at the school. I wasn't there for very long. But I was terrified. I was terrified I was going to get caught, so I just kept going with the lie. I just kept going with it. And if I had been smart, or if I had been less like guilty, felt less guilty about it, I would have kept lying to people, because it's really easy to do. It's incredibly easy to lie to people and get them to believe whatever the hell you want them to believe. Because people want to believe things without evidence, because it's much easier, much quicker to just believe rather than go look for evidence. This took me, 17, 18 minutes? I already went through searching all this crap once. I already knew what to look up. It would have taken me 30 to 40 minutes. Easily, because that's what it took me the first time. Without talking to a mic, without recording shit in fraps. So guys, whether you believe the story or not, I don't know if that really matters, but always question it. Always go look for the information yourself. I mean, I definitely want to call that police department and see if this is a true thing or not. And it looks like it is anyway, because there was a representative, so there probably is a police report. But always question what you're told by people that you trust. The Young Turks, Sargon of Akkad, doesn't matter who you listen to on YouTube, doesn't matter who you listen to in the real world and actual broadcast media. Always go look up the information yourself, and if you can't find it, then just rely on the information they do give you and you can verify. And that's going to be me, guys. I'll talk to you next time.